How does inflation affect commercial real estate? So in this video, we're going to talk about inflation and its effect on commercial real estate. Now, one of the things that we're going to talk about is not just the relationship from that, but there are particular things you need to look at with commercial real estate that have nothing to do with residential real estate. So you need to be aware of those because it'd be a little more fickle, but a lot more profitable on top of that. But do this. I appreciate you. Thumbs up. Whatever you want to do, high five me, comments, all that fun stuff will help you out in there. Stick around to the very end. I got a little bonus for you that I know you're going to enjoy also. So let's just talk about inflation as a whole. What is inflation and how does it work? You know, I don't want to get into the conspiracies and the we should be backed up by the gold and all that other good stuff. You know, it started off with bartering and then it started off with coins. I mean, I've had coins that I got in the Holy Land that were around, Roman coins that were around when Jesus was around. I mean, so there's always been a form of exchange. Inflation is another story. So inflation really started becoming a thing, if you will, is when we were able to start borrowing against our currency. And it all comes into this. That's why you have the feds, which is not a government agency. The Federal Reserve Board is a private sector organization that was put together back in 1913, I think it was, by some of the big financiers of the time. The Morgans, the Fairchilds, I think the Queen of England or the monarch, was involved, a lot of very wealthy people. And it was a way to exchange money between banks and borrow monies between banks. And I don't want to get into all of that because really that's kind of what sparked it. And then you've got supply and demand. You've got a few amount of people with a lot amount of money. So if you're throwing a bunch of money into the market, that's not really backed by anything, now you've got a bunch of cash that can go after the product. So if it's, a watch, we'll use that as a good example, and I've got only, 10 of these, but yet 100 people want those watches all of a sudden, and they've all got the cash to spend it, well, then now I've got a problem because I can't get any more for a while. I need to make some money on this because I got to feed people, and then all of a sudden I got to raise the prices. So there you have inflation. Does that affect commercial real estate? Absolutely. The thing about commercial real estate that you've got to look at, it works completely different than a residential real estate. So with the residential real estate, if I'm sitting in this house right now, the market dictates the price in so much as every house in the area that's similar or like this, that have sold recently, 3 to 4 months, is going to be my barometer of how much this property is worth. How much a property 8 miles away is not going to be a deciding factor in how much this is going to be worth. So it's always funny when somebody says, how much do you think I can get for your property? Or how much do you think you're going to get? It's like, well, this is what the market's doing. Okay, a 3,000 square foot house with 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, blah, 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 is selling for, I'm going to make it up, $200 a square foot. That's what it's worth. Period, end of story. I don't care what they did with the property. That neighborhood right now is selling for that. Whereas commercial real estate is based on how much money is coming in from the property because it's an investment property. It's never somebody's house. So if I've got, 50 apartment buildings, commercial piece of real estate, multifamily, the value of that real estate is based on the revenue coming in. That's it. So then you get the cap rates, and I'm not going to get into that. But so if I'm multiplying my rents, okay, so if I get 50 units, I got to rent, and I'm getting $1,000 a month per property, I'm getting $50,000 a month. I got to factor in vacancy, maintenance, taxes, insurance, everything else on that. So there's my net, and that's how we're going to figure that. Based on that and multiples is how you get values on commercial real estate. So what does that have to do with inflation? Well, if all of a sudden I'm getting $1,500 a month rent, well, the value of my property goes up because I got $25,000 extra a month. So that property ebb and flows that way. So that's why you're seeing a lot of these apartment buildings being constructed, to be honest with you, is because there's a lot of money in that. Here's an apartment building, plus I can depreciate this property. You've all heard the infamous debate, I think it was with Donald Trump and what's her name, Hillary, where she said, he's taking advantage of these loopholes. And he's like, well, yeah, it'd be stupid not to. And you're the one that put him in there. So depreciation, what that means is, even though the value of the property is going up, you can divide that $1 million property, let's say it's $1 million, by the depreciating factor of that, and take that out of your taxes every month. That's why you can actually be making money on a property and operating at a loss. Again, I'm not going to get into the tax ramifications on that, but you're looking at that's what it is. So does commercial property do that, follow inflation? 100%. But it's also for different reasons on that. The one thing you want to look at when you're doing real estate is you want to pick a lane. Okay, so I love commercial real estate. It's fantastic. There's a lot of money in that. Love multifamily because you're just dealing with one building but multiple doors to rent, but that has its own headaches. I love single family residential properties too. I love going in there, fixing up the property, making them look nice, getting some good renters in there and watching the value go up from there. But I'm also playing a different game. I do tax liens and tax deed properties. What is that? Is when somebody sells or doesn't pay their property taxes on the property, the county has the luxury and the right to pay to put those delinquent property taxes up for sale. People like you and I can put up that money for those delinquent taxes, and boom. Once we do that, we either get an interest rate on our money from the person when he comes and pays it off, or I get the house free and clear of all liens and encumbrances. So I've kind of got the best of both worlds, because what I've done is I've been able to enter into the marketplace for a valued property that's up here substantially less. So I'm already beating the inflation game on it. The challenge is in that area, there's not a lot of commercial real estate that comes up on the list. Although I saw a property, 19 units. It was a office complex. There were 19 offices in there that we valued at about $3.3 million, and it sold at the auction for $214,000. This place was pristine. So do they come up? Yes. Are they phenomenal deals? I don't know about you, but I'd call a $3 million property and change, get it for $214,000, a pretty darn good deal. Now, that property owner had 1 year to come in and pay off those taxes plus a 20% penalty, but at the end of the day, you're getting boo-hoo 20% on your money, or a $3 million property. So there's all sorts of ways to skin this cat on it. When it comes to inflation and commercial property, there are multiple ways to get into that property. But understand that, you want to call it inflation, you want to call it the Fed's printing too much money, you want to call it a conspiracy, whatever you want. The fact of the matter is the value of real estate goes up as the inflation value goes up. Be careful how you finance it. Make sure you're not on short-term deals, because commercial real estate goes up and down constantly. The great news about this, the fantastic news about this, is you can hit the link down below, and in that link you will have a brand new course that I'm offering for free that I will give to you that'll walk you through all of these steps, and you can see if this is the next step for you and your family. That's my gift for you for sticking around this long. This is Saen Higgins saying God bless and good luck. See you out there.